What's going on, everybody? This is Image here, Voice of Autism, episode 134. Yep, and it's been a crazy week, I'll admit that. And really haven't. But today also National Train Day. So, yeah. Here's the first thing I want to say for today. I have a working yesterday, and me and a coworker dropped the fire. Literally, just at work yesterday, me and a coworker dropped a fire, a small one, from getting big. We put it out with water, but I almost burnt my right hand. So, yeah, almost. Let me, yeah, I got lucky when I did it, but I almost burnt my hand. While putting that fire out the other day at work. The full fruit a cigarette butt down into mulch, and it was very dry, and it started to burn and it catched fire. Luckily, I had spotted it in time, and me and another coworker put the fire out. So yeah, we stopped the disaster before it even happened. Kind of crazy for that absolutely crazy that actually happened at work yesterday. So yeah. Also, me and my fiance Val, we're doing good. We're actually great. I have to link to her YouTube channel that's coming down below. Me and her, we are planning to do the wedding either in July or August, or we'll put it back to 2021. We are delaying it because of all the coronavirus or COVID-19. That's the reason why. So yeah, it's been crazy. Now, I do have a lot of news today, but the video won't be that long because I got work in 2 hours from now that I got to do. So, I'll get much done in about 20 to 30 minutes. So, yeah. Now, let's see what we're going to start with first today. Because it's been crazy time. Let's see what we're going to look at for. Ironically, I'll be honest, there have not been that much up that be going on. Just and not just the community. It's been kind of quiet. It's kind of odd. Reason why I don't have some stuff, but another reason why I do. So yeah. Now let's get to the first article.
Why can't we sit together in unity? Stop being divisive. Here's a sentence I particularly hate depending on one typical context. A sentence in the same vein as minus everyone has different opinions. Which means I don't care about your insight because it doesn't match my biases, so I'll cherry pick the opinions I like. Or minus why did you have to hit him? Violence is bad. To not say. You have no rights to fight back even if you are assaulted. I can tell the people who reason like this and are more likely to repeat these sentences are people to whom nonviolence, unity, and relativism is a luxury they have. I'm sure many of you here had already heard these throughout your existence as an autistic person.
Not true.
And as an autistic person, you probably had to punch back your assaulter to defend yourself, but people put the blame on you for defending yourself allegedly because you were violent. You also probably had to affirm and explain in vain why your living matters a lot more than the viewpoints from people who aren't autistics like you. But these said non-autistics told you it's just your opinion. Many of you, when trying to reappropriate a fight and the autistic movement, which is your legitimate property as number actually autistics, you've probably been told by the very same non-autistics that you were divisive and that we must get along together. These people are not only bad faith hypocrites, they are also living in an imaginary world put of denial of what the autistic experience is in reality. For them, unity and calling for it as a finality is privilege. You don't choose to be united under the same group as the people who abuse you and can take full advantage of the forced idea of unity to have you under their paws to use you at their benefits. What's the point of being united if it actually means to remain united under anti-control and crushing power? The people who accuse you of being divisive are actually freaked out. They are scared because you technically never called for division. You just affirmed yourself as a proud autistic, not wanting to be spoken over and fearless about that choice to reclaim your own dignity as a lead spear to your own movement. This embodies power and is interpreted by people scared by this expression of power as division.
That is so true.
People who swear over unity for the only sake of remaining in power above autistics are not allies. All they care about is a hierarchical model of unity, which will always be favorable to ends by putting them at the top. Just like the centrism fallacy. This fallacious idea of unity values superficiality and quantity over consistency and quality. And to find consistent input and quality in advocacy, forced unity isn't an option. If autistic people don't want to associate with someone, please consider that instead of them being extremist or divisive, they may just don't want to be with a toxic person. True consistent unity shall only happen when autistic people are in command of their own property, their right movement. With non-autistic people genuinely joining them motivated by an authentic wish to help by learning from mistakes and improve. Not because of high position motives.
That is very true right there. That is true for our community. My mom. But that is very true right there. Because our community really have been treated like crap by our people. Ooh, and I mean literally treated like crap. And it's something that we're getting sick and tired of. Like, we're starting to put our voice out there. They're starting to get scared because we're going to get our voices. So, yeah. As long as we keep our voices up, it would definitely send a message that we're not going to stand for it anymore. But, yeah. But it's all true right there. All in that message is very, very true. Like, literally. Because me being autistic myself, I dealt with that on a daily basis when I was younger. And it's true what you said. If we fight back, we get blamed for it when it's self offense. So what he's saying is true. Like literally is true. Because it's very true if you just think about it. And our community didn't get tired of it. Now here at the next article.
If your idea of autism advocacy is prioritizing holistic comfort or even autistics themselves with internalized ableism/ideas over actually autistics who struggle because of these very same ideas and privileges, then your advocacy is failing the very people you wanted to empower at the beginning.
True.
I see many people succumbing to this idea of pleasing the powerful at the expense of the powerless in the name of gathering allies. If your actions ends up with you defending and turning into the problems you were exposing at first, then I strongly recommend you to stop, look back and ask yourself what I'm doing with my content. What I am even standing up to. It's easy to be corrupted by cognitive shortcuts and facile assumptions.
That is true.
Because of this, you can easily betray your own principles. Don't be like that. Think about who you are defending in the first place, what you are defending, and how. The most vulnerable autistics out there are directly facing the worst of these consequences because of this. Be responsible.
That is true.
Right there a postscriptum. I don't exclude the possibility that some of you, who may recognize themselves in this, might be my fellow advocates or people I know. Nor that I exclude the possibility that some of you might have spotted some issues in the things they do without me or other people noticing it and pointing that out. You know the song. This post isn't a personal attack. Don't take it as such. You were already advocating for people to not take as an attack. Autistic critic, you know in your case you are capable of doing it and change things for the better.
Exactly. Right there, that is true. And he right. Crunching Owl with a fellow autistic friend of mine. Not from him, and he got a point. Whew. Like, literally got a point. More people don't realize that. But you gotta think about it in a way. Like, it's crazy, but he does got a point. And it's something I known for a long time. Autistics try very hard to get our voice out there. And we do succeed. It's very hard, but we do. It's been a crazy time. And I'm gonna bring it up. Sorry for start of the live stream. Oh, I'm still waking up. So yeah. I'm just gonna bring that up real quick. Sorry about when I at the beginning live stream because it sounded like I was talking nonsense earlier. So sorry about that. But what he is saying is right. More people don't realize that, and I mean realize it. It sounds crazy, but he is right about that. If you just think about it and do the math, you start realizing, like literally realizing. But yeah.
Self-diagnosed autistic here. Wondering if it is off to ask this group in another FB group. There is a parent who thinks it is off to talk about their autistic 19-yo being the same as an 11-yo and say they are not allowed out unsupervised until they can prove they are safe. I got towed police when I asked questions. Firstly, does anyone else think this sounds like rights violation and infantilization? Secondly, does a parent having enduring guardianship and power of attorney, this is in Australia, alter an adult person's rights? I get so flustered when people
It
attack me with
is.
strawman type personal attacks for being too direct, and it is hard to research and be logical and reasonable in reply. Note, I may have gone into a asterisk slight asterisk rant about inclusion, rights, ableism.
Mm.
Oops.
Well, Burton in that article got a point. Really do. I'll be honest, I still have a little problem trying to prove to my mom I could be independent. That I'll be honest about. But I'm getting there. I work. I clean. I do a lot of other stuff. But yeah, it take time. And it depends on who you are, but it's crazy. Mm-hmm.
Hi everyone. I'm looking for guidance from actually autistic parents of autistic children. My brain and body are a bit spent right now, so my research abilities aren't great today, and I'm semi urgently trying to help a friend. Her child is 3 and does not yet speak and engages in little to no eye contact. Her pediatrician is referring her child for testing for suspected autism. It's worth noting that they are a bilingual household. Knowing that I'm autistic and have worked many years in childcare, she has asked for my advice. I have made several suggestions for what I would do in her situation with my best educated guess, as I'm not currently a parent. Do you know of any specific resources online or in the Los Angeles County area, California, USA that would be suitable? Thank you kindly in advance.
It depends on who you are, and also, well, everybody is different. But yeah.
CW mentions DV, sexual assault, and other things. Hi, I'm Joe. I was a single parent from the time of conception of my daughter. I didn't know it yet, but I am autistic and found being pregnant and breastfeeding very challenging from a sensory perspective. I had HG through the entire pregnancy, and I have always had an absolute fear of vomiting. The magical kicks that people love about being pregnant were highly triggering for me. Sitting at the hospital where I wait alone for hours on end for my appointments sent me into sensory overload. That was 2002 2003, so it was before noise canceling headphones and smartphones. Despite having sensory overload with breastfeeding, I went on to breastfeed until my daughter self-weaned at 3 because I knew that's what was best for her. I also knew that having her sleep with me was best, even though I had never had to share my bed with another person prior to becoming a mother. In her early life, I lived with my mom for 6 months until I had some savings behind me and all major work had been done on my car that needed doing. After that, I moved in with a friend who was going through a divorce. That was a nightmare. I'm not designed to live with others. The day I found weed on the coffee table in reach of my baby who was walking by 8.5 months was the day I kicked her out and went into a women's shelter, then got government housing, where it was just me and my daughter who was 19 months by then. Things were a bit better. It started off as a quiet neighborhood. Then the people on one side of me left and new neighbors, loud neighbors with 5 rowdy kids and 3 rowdy adults moved in. It was all downhill from there. After that, new neighbors moved in opposite us and would fight constantly. I sank into deep depression. The house became messier by the minute. I was awake all night with neighbors having with parties or fights or both. I was working full time, was super tired. I was getting stressed at work and snapping at my workmates for no reason other than I was in a constant state of hypervigilance and overload. It remained that way until my daughter was 9.5 years old. One Sunday night at 11 p.m. we got broken into by a back neighbor. He told my daughter she was to suck his asterisk 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 the way she sucks her daddy's asterisk asterisk asterisk, and with a knife to my throat, I pushed him out of her room as he told her that once he asterisk 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 me he will kill me then be back for her. I had already called the police and thrown my daughter the phone. I won't go into details of that, but I will say that we moved to my mom's house until my daughter was 10. We then moved from outback North Queensland to country Victoria, which is about 3,000 kilometers away. Our time there was peaceful for the most part, but the weather was an issue. My daughter had been diagnosed with AD and SPD at 5, then finally ASD at 7. I was still not diagnosed.
I'll be honest, my stepdad, If that happened, he would be due to living pulp until he would probably die. Not joking, my stepdad would do that to a dude who would rape someone.
My daughter had been diagnosed with AD and SPD at 5, then
Not
finally
making it
ADS
up.
at 7. I was still not diagnosed. The cool weather was hard. Every item of clothing was not suitable. I was hitting sensory overload with the cold, the change to warmth inside, and all the different fabrics. Because it was warm inside and freezing outside, I spent my days locked inside with heaters and a fire going. I drank box wine by the liter.
I
I
prefer
became
the
more and
cold,
more depressed and
not the
finally
hot.
moved back to NQ when my daughter was about to turn 11. I moved back in with my mom at this point. All the time this was happening, our intruder who nearly killed me was still not caught. So that played on my mind every minute of the day. My daughter started school at a public school with an amazing special education unit and a fantastic special ed teacher, and I was masking highly to hide feelings from her. I drank after she was in bed and cried when she was at school. At the end of that year, our offender had been caught. We had lost everything and only had ourselves, our cat and dog and fighter, fish, and enough possessions that could fit in my car. The following year, everything was finalized, and our intruder who wanted us dead had been sentenced. The intruders who later entered our home and stole and destroyed our possessions were never found, and insurance didn't replace any of it because of a combination of loopholes in insurance and my lack of ability to understand it. I was dealing with single parenting, sensory overload from all the information from police, insurance, government housing, and victims assist. I had also been diagnosed with CPTSD from the trauma of being attacked and also childhood trauma. I kept on keeping on, and the year my daughter was 12, I went into a private psychiatric hospital and was then diagnosed as autistic myself. The following year, I started having epileptic seizures that couldn't be controlled with epilepsy. I was 35 at the time. I'm now turning 40 and still have regular seizures. My daughter now lives with my mom, and I have support workers and other help thanks to Endis. I'm on top of the house and yard with their assistance and with family support. I'm doing well with my daughter. In turn, she's doing well. My support workers help with maintaining the house and yard, making sure I eat and shower, help with the animals, and take me shopping and to appointments so that each day when my daughter is here, I can focus just on her. I was tested as a child and my parents didn't want to make it official because they didn't want to label me. Instead, they put me in therapies to try to fix or cure me. ABA being one therapy they used, but also other treatments and cures. I was punished for not eating the food other than small amounts of a few safe foods.
ABA therapy
I
is
was
child
punished for
abuse.
not talking. Punishments from a professional included intentional ignoring, removal of my safe foods, withholding certain toys until I behaved how they wanted me to behave. There's a 9-year gap between me and my little brother. By that time, my father had started going to the pub when he wasn't working or sleeping and was taking on more out of town jobs, so my mother was tied up with my little brother. My older brother and I were also in competitive swimming, so she was busy with swim meets and training schedules, so the
Autism,
treatments, therapies, and
I bring it up. Autism is not a disease. It's not. It's neurological. It's in the brain. ABA therapy and what the Jane the post, all the stuff that happened to the department was wrong.
there's a 9-year gap between me and my little out of town jobs, so my mother was tied up with my little brother. My older brother and I were also in competitive swimming, so she was busy with swim meets and training schedules, so the treatments, therapies, and cures eased up. I was given my safe foods because my mother didn't have the energy to fight me on it, and my father was never around. My little brother is also autistic, so he had his safe foods and had his meltdowns, but with my father being an abusive a-hole to my mother and my mother juggling school, a toddler, me and a teenager who was playing up at school, as well as swimming, for all three of us by then, she went along with giving my brother whatever he wanted and not using any therapies. He was not diagnosed until 12, so through high school with his official diagnosis, he had loads of educational support. Something I was denied because my parents didn't make the diagnosis official. I'm diagnosed level 3 autism. My daughter is level 1. My entire childhood now makes complete sense. I guess what I'm trying to say is that even though the treatments and cures and even therapy had stopped, the trauma was already there. I had and still have a poor relationship with my parents and a poor relationship with food, along with extremely poor self esteem and difficulties listening to my own self.
This is why we need to ban ABA therapy and arrest people who support the type of shit. Because of shit like that. When parents who are trying to find cures, mm-mm, not right. And that was a child abuse. And what happened to her daughter? I would feel bad for them too. What the hell is wrong with people who put their kid through shit like that? Literally, it's it wrong. It's infuriating what it is. And having an abusive father like that, my real dad almost killed me when I was younger. That I'll be honest about. And he was abusive. Jim with my stepmom. I have not seen them in a long time. But what they did was disgusting and degrading. But it was not right at all. I don't know how in the hell they got away with stuff that they do. But yeah, just disgusting. And the cure job need to end. It just need to end. It needs to stop. People are doing this shit. Need to get arrested. Like literally, parents who are that nuts, who abuse their kids, who try to put cure shit on them just because they're autistic, those people need to go to jail. Same with people who support this type of shit. I'll be honest. And the loopholes, what happened to her, that technically can be insurance fraud from the bank or by frauding her, you know? So what happened to her and her daughter was not right. What happened to her when she was a kid was not right. And I tell you, if for people who have parents like that, cut them out of your life. It's not worth it. If you get old enough to be independent, to walk out or do medication to get away from them. If they have cuts over you, saying that you're not able to live on your own, go to people who said it and prove them wrong. And then get medicated. But for something like that, that's horrible. But yeah, it's wrong. Now let's get to the articles from my fiance Val.
After seeing my friends graduated with their college degrees, also with honors and special awards, I began to think deeply of one day. I wanted to be like them, being uncomfortable, however, got paid off out of their uncomfortable situation that was worth the effort, hard work, patience, and even the courage to take those challenges that are risk taking. However, the consequences are pain, and at the same time, the reward is more than a college degree. One of these days, I was hoping, and not really hoping, but literally looking forward to take up a bachelor's degree and would one day be recognized as one of the hardworking and committed students with autism to enter college in a bachelor's level. I have about gifted talent that I would be a
Mm-hmm.
singer occasionally, but in reality, I cannot be a singer every day. I cannot also have gigs regularly nor frequently, but I also have to know the practical side that I have in mind. Since I got my personal wants were almost about to complete, that personal want I have was taking up music course in an associate's degree program. If my singing career falls out, there is this course of choice that I want in mind for such practical reasons, is in diplomacy and governance, in which I've been into since my grade school years due to my passion for cultural exchange and foreign languages, where I invested my free time in those things.
That from my fiance
However,
Val.
diplomacy will not be only applicable for government related stuff, but also for my singing career too. And this will also help other people with autism who are afraid of speaking for themselves, and also to use this for my advocacy on autism awareness. Those are my main purpose and why taking up diplomacy. I would one day dream of mentioning my name with my diploma and wearing my toga with my diplomatic gestures and expressions to this big stage full of deans and royal family members, and along with that is wearing a gold medal of cum laude and was crowned Miss Unlimited with a crown and sash for being limitless in life. And hopefully after music course, I want to study again, and would really want to pursue a bachelor's degree in diplomacy for practical reasons. And would one day continue to be financially supported for my studies too. Because education is a necessity and it is a right for all of us. Learning my lesson in life when it comes to education, I would rather become diplomatic than being a diva. P.S. Forgive me for being too advanced. If you found me dreaming too high, well, we have the right to dream big.
That right. That from my fiance Val, and her dream college here in my home state of Charleston, South Carolina, which I want to help her go to. Like, I want to help my fiance go to her dream college here in Charleston. So yeah, that's something I do have planned that for, and she loved it, in Charleston, which I want her to do her college here because she have a better chance here than to do in the Philippines in her home country. I'll be honest. But yeah. But that was from my fiance Phil from over 2 years ago. But yeah, it's been amazing. Now I hope everybody enjoyed the live stream or enjoyed the live stream. I hope everybody having a nice Saturday, having a nice weekend, and being safe. I really do mean it. And I hope everybody is doing fine. And I will talk to you guys later. Signing out. Bye, guys.